to I Am Refocused Radio with your host, Shamaya Reed. This show is designed to inspire you to live your purpose and regain your focus. And now, here's your host, Shamaya Reed.
Hey, welcome to I Am Refocused Radio, man. We are here once again. And today, we have a true honor talking to two special guests. We have with us today, Sir Wayne Callies and Paul Adelstein. And they are the hosts of the podcast Prison Breaking, off the hit show that we all loved. I know I loved it, Prison Break. First and foremost, good morning to you both. How are you doing today?
Good morning, Shamaya. How are you?
All's good. All's well.
Glad to hear it.
Let me start with you, Sarah, and then Paul. What is it like to revisit Prison Break and just have the opportunity to, you know, have a commentary on it raw and unfiltered?
You know, Shamaya, it's been remarkably emotional, actually. This show was it came at a really interesting time in all of our lives. I didn't really have a career before it, so I come to it with a lot of gratitude. But, you know, like neither Paul or I had kids, and now we've got teenagers. There have been people who got married, people who got divorced, people who came out, people who went to actual prison. Like it was... Every one of us in the cast was really profoundly affected by being part of the show. And I finished the show and I kind of put it on a shelf. There were a lot of emotions there. And so taking it down for the first time in the context of having a conversation with somebody who really became, you know, not just a friend, but like a confidant while we were filming, it's been a ride. It's been a ride.
Now, Paul, we know your character on Prison Break, man. What was it like for you to revisit watching the show?
It's a blast. I hadn't seen most of it in a long, long time, and enough time has passed that I can watch it with a little bit of the enjoyment of a fan and not so much as someone who was there acting in it. And I just really have an appreciation for what a groundbreaker it was at the time. Just the beautiful filmmaking that really wasn't being done on television yet, and the intensity of the plotting of that show, and the detail of the breakout, and all the crazy characters. And that's the stuff that Sarah and I, at the time, we certainly were talking about every time a script came out, but it was almost too intense to be able to pull apart. So on Prison Breaking, we really get to kind of take our time and do the deep dives and find the Easter eggs and talk about all the fun details of making the show. I've been learning a lot about the show, which I did not expect. I didn't know this aspect of it, and this writer will tell us something we never knew that was happening behind the scenes. So it's just been a trip.
Now, Sarah, like to Paul's point, I mean, the camera work, the writing was amazing. And I'm being a fan. I'm being honest right now, but it's amazing how everything just glued together, from the characters to the plot twists. Kind of illustrate for the audience what it was like for you to have these watch parties, because with the podcast Prison Breaking, you're allowing us to be able to experience it in real time.
Yeah, I mean, we sort of do the podcast in two parts. We do a watch party where basically if you hit play on your episode and you hit play on the watch party episode, you're listening to our commentary as we watch it. And because we haven't seen it in such a long time, we're kind of on the ride with you. And then we've got the Prison Breaking episode where we talk about the episode afterwards, and we bring on guests and stuff. And, you know, I mean, it's kind of cool. I mean, look, Paul and I both tried to kill each other a couple times on this show.
On the show.
Literally.
Yeah, on the show.
Our characters tried to murder each other, and we've both died a couple times on the show. So there's a lot to talk about. But also, you know, look, the fans have been extraordinary to us over the years. You know, I was originally killed off the show at the end of season 2. The fans had a giant letter writing campaign that brought me back in season 4. And so I think we really feel like bringing them in, both the fans from 2005 and the people who started binging it last week on streaming services, you know, bringing all those folks in together to this conversation, really, it means a lot.
Now, Paul, like, you got to jump into your character that you play, because First of all, awesome job. 2,
Thank you.
You had me watching. I had to get the DVDs. That's how dedicated I was to watch the show series. What was it like to study your character and just kind of watch him all over again?
I had so much fun diving into that character because it was one of those characters, I had no idea where that was going. I don't know if the writers knew where it was going. So all I knew was almost like Kellerman was himself. He had to do I had to do the job that was right in front of me. And so what I had to figure out how to do was some pretty nasty stuff, but from a guy who doesn't consider himself a nasty guy. So it was about putting myself in a certain kind of mindset and figuring out how those guys think. He was a special forces guy and Secret Service guy, and he really, really believed that what he was doing was for the betterment of the country. And so that gave him a kind of internal ethical permission to then use his incredibly badass skills to get it done. And that was just so much fun to play.
We're pretty sure Paul kills more people than anybody else on the show.
I think that's probably right.
Yeah.
And also, I know that a lot of actors grow up playing cops and robbers, playing doctor, playing not in the, I want to be a doctor sense, race car driver, astronaut, fireman, whatever it is. And playing kind of military guy, cops and robbers thing, that was my jam when I was a little kid. And so there were days where I was just like, I cannot believe that this is my job, that I get to, and especially I grew up in Chicago, getting to do some of that stuff downtown in season 1, it was just such a trip. I felt so lucky and had so much fun doing it.
Well, once again, you can catch all the fun on the podcast, Prison Breaking. We've been talking to Sara and Paul. I know y'all busy, so I just want to take the time to say thank you both for talking to us today.
Thank you so much, Shemaya. Good to hear your voice again.
Nice to talk to you.
Yes, sir.